Hi, I'm Atlanta attorney Chris Simon. Today we're going to go over a couple of key do's and don'ts after you're involved in a car accident. Some of these items are fundamentals, some of these items you never would have thought about. So listen carefully, and I hope you'll learn a lot from today's episode. The first on our list of do's and don'ts following a car accident is to make sure you give notice of the car accident to your own insurance company and do it as soon as you possibly can. There's a number of reasons for this, and there's no reasons not to. Some folks say to me, "Look, Chris, we know the other guy got the ticket. We know it wasn't our fault. Why do we even have to tell our insurance company?" And I think in the background, people are concerned that their insurance company may raise their rates. Look, first of all, your insurance company is going to find out about this crash when they pull an annual review on you. They're going to see that you were involved in the crash, and if it's going to have any effect whatsoever on your premium, there's not too much you can do about it. So the downside to notifying them is heavily outweighed by the upside. What's the upside? You have to give notice to your car insurance company within 30 days, sometimes 60 days, just depends on the policy. If you fail to do that, and God forbid you're seriously hurt and the other driver doesn't have enough coverage to act, then your uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage is going to become critical. Most Georgia insurance policies are written such that if you don't tell your insurance company within the time period stated in the policy, you're completely cut off from any benefits whatsoever. We took over a case recently where the young man was very badly hurt, had shattered pelvis surgery. He'd hired a younger lawyer. The lawyer had taken the case on, had not provided notice within the 60-day period. And we wrote letters to the uninsured motorist carrier for our client and said, look, he's going to need this underinsured motorist coverage. And guess what? They sent back a letter and said, I'm sorry, we didn't ever receive notice from that prior lawyer, and he's cut off. Now the prior lawyer's got a malpractice problem. So don't let you as a consumer make the same mistake that other attorney made. If you're in a crash, absolutely positively make sure you tell your own insurance company about it. The second thing on our list is recorded statements. And this gets a little confusing. This is a do. If your own insurance company asks you for a recorded statement, this is something that contractually you have to do. You've agreed to do this under the insurance contract. So do go ahead and do that. Make sure you do this when you're not on pain medication. Make sure you spend a great deal of time thinking about how your explanation of it is going to sound. If you've got a lawyer, make sure they're involved in the conversation. One of the corollaries is the don't, and that is do not give a recorded statement to the other guy's car insurance company. The only reason they're trying to do this is to hope that you slip up so that they can deny paying on a claim that they may rightfully owe on. The third item on our list may seem a little bit obvious, and that is if you're hurt, go to the doctor immediately. Don't mess around. Don't wait 10 days hoping it's going to get better. You know your body better than anybody else, and we're not suggesting that you run out and get medical care if you don't need it. If you feel perfectly fine, that's great. Don't go to the doctor. But the problem is a lot of conservative Georgians out there get hurt and they try to tough it out. They just figure, look, I'm going to see if this goes away in 2 weeks. And then when it doesn't, and they go into their family doctor at that point, in many cases this piece of evidence will be used against you. Insurance companies know that when we try cases in Georgia, the jury really wants to know, did the person complain about injury early on? Was there some objective evidence that something was wrong with them? And if there's 14 days, 10 days between the time of the crash and the first time you go to the doctor, well, that fact is going to get used against you, and they're going to use it to imply that you're being less than honest about it. So do not shoot yourself in the foot. Bottom line, if you have any kind of significant pain at all, make sure you go see your family doctor in the first 1 to 3 days. If it's significant, if it's severe pain, obviously go to the emergency room. Make sure that you're well. That is the most important thing. Many people ask us about chiropractors. They also ask about these shady folks that call them after a car wreck. Number one, anybody who telephones you after a car accident is someone who is operating illegally. Those are runners. They're not supposed to reach out to you. Some of them work for chiropractors, some of them work for shady attorneys. Either way, these are not the people you want to be involved with. They cannot get business any other way, and this is what they resort to. The other question about chiropractors arises because many family members may suggest them, or you may have been before on your own for maintenance. Here's my problem with the majority of chiropractic practitioners in Georgia. They view car accident cases as both a health issue and a money-making issue. And the way that you know this is, If you ask them up front what their charge is going to be, and you compare that charge to what you typically see for a walk-in patient rate, they're 3 to 4 times as much, and you just can't rationalize that away. So if you're going to do chiropractic care, make sure it's with the doctor, or you have an agreement in writing that the rate they're going to charge you is going to be the same rate that they charge for anybody walking in the door as a patient. Our fourth do is make sure that you do bill all of the medical care from the crash to your health insurance. You may have some doctors or hospitals say, oh no, for car accidents we don't bill health insurance, and that's inaccurate. Health insurance covers you regardless of how the incident occurred. Health insurance does have one legitimate question, and that is, do you have medical payments coverage? Medical payments coverage is a separate item of coverage that you may have through your own car insurance policy. If you do have it, your health insurance is right. That coverage needs to be exhausted before health insurance has to pay. But once you've checked off that item on your to-do list, everything else should go through health insurance. This is very important, especially with emergency rooms. These days in Georgia, we're seeing emergency room doctors and the emergency room facility themselves not sending the bill to health insurance, and instead taking out a Georgia medical lien against your case. This costs you a significant amount of money. So make sure, if you have emergency care or any other kind of care and you do have health insurance, that it's all getting billed to the health insurer. Our fifth do is extremely important, and that is gather as much evidence as you can at the scene of the crash. If you have a camera, shoot pictures. Use your cell phone if you have to. If you talk to a witness, make sure you get their contact information. It is unusual for police officers to write down non-critical witness information. You may talk to a witness, the officer may never even see them, and if you don't get that person's name, odds of you finding them again ever are very, very slim. So photographs of skid marks, photographs of damage, photographs of the other person if you feel comfortable, and then key witness information. Make sure these items are locked down early on. A lot of folks want to know if they should call a lawyer early on in a case. They may be concerned that it's not a big enough deal. They may be concerned that the lawyer may be dishonest and take advantage of them, and that's understandable. The short answer is all personal injury lawyers offer free consultations. It's a very easy matter to schedule an appointment and go in and sit down, and there's no strings attached. Here's one key rule of thumb. If the lawyer will not meet with you personally for that consultation, you probably don't want to end up working with them. So take advantage of this. Do consult with the lawyer. If you don't need them, you're going to know it, and that's great. You can move on and handle the case on your own. Number 7 on our list is also an easy one, and that's make sure you contact the other driver's insurance company. You do not want to assume that the other driver is going to do this. They may be afraid about the effect on their premiums. So as soon as that police report is ready, which is typically 2 to 3 days after the crash, go ahead and reach out to them, put the claim in, make sure everything's proceeding as it should. Number 8 on our list is make sure that you get all of your valuables out of your car if your car is in a salvage lot. Unfortunately, salvage yards are not always secure. Stereos, sunglasses, MP3 players, anything that you want to keep personally, make sure you go in the car in the first day or two, or have a friend or family member go and get those items locked up. If you're going to handle your case on your own, do make sure you present the gross total of all of your medical bills. For example, if the hospital bill was $3,000, but your health insurance only said, well, $1,100 is the correct number, you do not present $1,100, you present the $3,000. This is one of the few advantages Georgia law gives to consumers. It says, look, you're going to get the benefit of the big amount of the bill, and that's what the other party's insurance company needs to be dealing with. If they're not dealing with the gross amount of the bill, they're not following the law. At that point, I would make sure that you get a legal consultation. Our last do is, if you've hired a lawyer and they're not returning your calls, or they're refusing to meet with you, or they're not meeting your expectations as far as communication, go ahead and fire them. You can fire any lawyer in Georgia, especially before any offer is made on the case. What do you owe them if you fire them? A lot of people want to know that. The answer is, look, you owe them for the amount of time they put in the case, but they can't present you a bill. They cannot hold your file hostage. They do need to turn the file over within 10 to 14 days to their customer. Fire the lawyer, move on, find somebody that you do mesh with correctly. You don't need to take substandard service. You need to realize that our tort system, our system of paying people compensation for injury, is not supposed to be a lottery winning. It is supposed to put them back with dollars and as close to a position as they would have been if they'd never had the crash. So do not expect the system to do you any gigantic favors. It's not going to. It is there to help. It is certainly not perfect. If you have other questions, feel free to call our firm. You can reach us on the web at www.georgiaclaims.com. Thank you.